Hi all, let's continue our look at Nakamura at the London Classic Rapid Open. In round 6, he was black against the mighty Mathew Sadler, who is a top 100 player in the world right now. And, okay, Mathew Sadler, if you've not heard of him, well, let's flip the board by the way. Mathew Sadler, a chess grandmaster and writer. He won the British Chess Championship in 1995. This is information from Wiki, at the age of 21, and again in 1997, jointly with Michael Adams. He's represented England in Olympiads, for example, 1996, where he scored 10.5 out of 13, winning a gold medal for the best score on board 4. He also played in 1998, scoring 7.5 out of 12. And I think also more recently, he's played in the Olympiad very well, and that's not actually reached Wiki yet. Now, what happened to him, because he was actually touted to be at the same level as Adams and Short, but he took a decision at some point to cease playing professionally, and he went for an IT career in the Netherlands. I remember actually, personally, he was sponsored by Cyan, or the company that did Cyan Organizer had sponsored him at some point in his youth. Anyway, so he went for an IT career in the Netherlands, and for several years he was the book reviewer for New in Chess magazine, and also wrote books and articles for other chess magazines. In 2000, his book Queen's Gambit Declined, published by Everyman, was awarded the British Chess Federation's Book of the Year award. Okay, so yeah, he's a very strong player, and he's also very strong at rapid. One of the rapid achievements, when he returned to chess in 2010, he played in rapid play held near Wageningen, and he won the event with 7 out of 7, finishing ahead of Timon, Nijoba, Daniel Friedman. In 2011, he continued the strong play by winning the Open at Deschamps de Sens, scoring 8.5 out of 10, ahead of several strong grandmasters, including Smeets. So yeah, he's been back with a vengeance the last few years, but he notes now that he's an amateur and would not be coming back as a professional. He contrasts this light-hearted approach with when he was a professional, he was working 10 hours a day, incredibly intensely. So let's see the game. So e4 for Mathew Sadler. So 2-6-5-3 according to this ratings here. Nakamura 2-7-6-7. So c6, the Caro-Kann. Sadler plays d4, d5. We have knight c3, main move really. D takes, knight takes, and now. Okay, the most common, the main line is bishop f5. Knight d7 was played by Nakamura, and now we have this knight g5. And yes, interesting. There's a little trick here. Nakamura just maybe should consider in this position. This is the main move over 1,500 games. Just playing the knight here. Another one is actually moving this knight here. Another one is e6, 81 games. They fall off considerably. The main principled move, the most popular with over 1,600 games, is moving the knight there. Nakamura played h6, which has seen only 9 games before. And there's a slight snag with it. It's encouraging white to play, guess what? If I give you 5 seconds, what does white play in this position? Okay, knight e6, and that's the thing. Yes, knight e6. If takes, this wouldn't be a good idea because there's a mate in 2. Check, mate. So Nakamura, I don't know if he's been playing this on purpose still, because it seems as though it's not a definite massive advantage if it's not taken. Nakamura plays check, bishop d2, and queen b6. Now here, again, funny enough, and I remember seeing this from a John Lunn game, white could actually just leave the knight installed on e6 with either, say, bishop c4, bishop d3. There's another little trick here. If we have a look at this position, bishop d3, if black dares take now, I don't know if you've seen this neat trick before. Check, the king goes there, but guess what in this position? Can you see? Yep, bishop a5, skewing the queen and king. But yeah, that's an option for bishop d3 or bishop c4. Yeah. Yeah, knight takes f8 gives white that dark square bishop, robbing back of the bishop pair, and it's a small advantage according to the engine, this position. Just for those curious, if bishop d3 had been played, how does black actually make progress? Well, maybe now black can play this, and yeah, it's an interesting position though. Either taking or even leaving the knight here. This is interesting from an engine perspective. This position here, piece down, is interesting. It's a bit murky, really. You could describe it, but apparently, Stockfish kind of likes this position for white. There's some compensation here clearly, but yeah, it's a strange position. So anyway, in the game, knight takes, knight f3. White is playing with the bishop pair now. So is the dark square bishop going to be any good? Bishop d3, leaving the pawn hanging, and yes, this is taken. Yes, Nakamura's opening here has been a bit strange to say the least, but crack it. How is it crackable? White just castles. Bishop g4, rook b1. Takes another pawn, allowing a rook to the 7th, and it looks like strong pressure here. And as you'd imagine, actually, the advantage is technically with white here. I mean, there's strong pressure on black's position. The development seems a little bit delayed. Knight e6, though. h3, bishop takes, queen takes. So in this position, what is going on? Well, Nakamura played queen d5. This looks a safer choice than knight takes d4. If knight takes d4, surely there's a punishment. Queen g3. And if black castles, then there's bishop takes h6. This is no good for black. This position is difficult. All sorts of nasties are going on. Okay, so this queen g3, this looks as though there's a good play here. If knight e6, rook e1, it looks as though this is a dangerous position for black. So Nakamura, yeah, he brings the queen back to the centre. Queen g3. Now he castles, inviting bishop takes h6. Possibly this is a slight inaccuracy in this particular position. The engine suggests rook takes e7 with only a small advantage, funny enough. On bishop takes h6, knight h5, queen g4, we have knight f6. Obviously this knight's protecting g7, so queen g3. Now, okay, here, interesting position. Black actually has things like c5 hitting the rook, and apparently black will be equal with that move c5. You've actually played queen takes d4. Now we have rook takes e7, knight d5, and the advantage again, it seems to be swinging a bit in this game. It's advantage to white here after rook d7, that pin. So maybe this knight d5 wasn't technically the best, but it's only rapid. So let's see this position with this pin. Rook f d8. It's a bit uncomfortable, the pin. Rooks come off. Rook e1, queen f6, evicting the bishop. It goes back to d2. So we're equal on pawns here, but it's two knights versus the two bishops. Knight df4, encouraging white to give up one of the bishops, but nope, he retains it tactically now. Mathew Sadler plays what looks to be a very good move in this position here now, which actually gives white a small advantage again, or more than half a pawn advantage. Can you see what white plays in this position? Okay, bishop c3. Yeah, if takes, then there'll be a bishop h7 check, winning the queen. So yeah, pointing the bishops at the king looks great. This looks great again for white. Queen h6, bishop c4, knight d5, bishop e5, queen g5, queens come off, rook a1. It looks as though this a pawn is a problem. These pawns are a bit vulnerable, and now a bit of torture. Rook a5, knight drops back.
Okay, so here, one question, can white just take care? Maybe the a pawn's running. Let's have a look. He didn't. Played g3 here. Let's have a quick look. What's the penalty here? There isn't so much of a penalty. It's just the ending is a5 with, you know, still white being a bit better. But yeah, maybe you don't want to give Naka this a pawn when there's pressure with the two bishops to be enjoyed. So g3, knight b4. Bishop drops back, protecting c2, knight d5. f4. So white's stretching out here. Bishop d4. The bishops look good to the knights right now. So knight b6 being ruled out. Yeah, pressure on this a file. a6, bishop c4, knight c7, bishop b6. Yes, this starts to look nasty. Engine evaluation now is nearly +2 for white in this position. It looks as though white's winning the a pawn without too much of a fuss. Here now, bishop takes, so winning that a pawn up, but there's a rook on the 7th. Rook d2, and also, you know, if Naka gets some coordination, this looks dangerous. Rook takes c6, but 2 pawns up. Knight d4. Check. This is the right move. Now here, this is a tricky position, though. As well as this knight f3. Well, what is black threatening? Is not actually threatening this because of this check here. The technical move for white, apparently, for an advantage, for maximum advantage, is actually to play king f1. Another good move was played after king f1. Say takes here, bishop takes f7. This is tricky for black. Here, for example, you know, well, there's numerous threats. So say check here. This position looks an advantage for white if he can navigate away from this piece coordination. He gets, you know, it's 3-1. It looks to be a big advantage for white, playing carefully. Even if h pawn drops, this is dangerous now for king safety. Things like this. It looks like a dangerous position. That's a sort of position which would be really promising. So maybe a slightly less accurate move was played here, though, in bishop d3 check. So bishop d3 check, g6, king f1 here. Okay, slightly different. Knight f3. Now here, yeah, what is actually going on? Naka's trying to get a perpetual check or something. But this move, apparently in this position, bishop e4 is strong. If check here, then just here, and then, you know, there's no knight f3. What is black actually doing? It looks to be pretty bad for black. So bishop e4 seems to be a strong move in this position, actually. But actually bishop e2 was played, which may be less strong. This might be the right way to repulse the pieces, bishop e4. And by the way, if knight d4, then rook c7. Here, rook d7. Yeah, it seems awkward, this pin. Say knight f3. Rook d5. Again, you know, it looks awkward for black. He's 2 pawns down. So yes, Mathew Sadler's in the driving seat in this position, but with bishop e2, it seems as though now knight d4, this is tricky again. Bishop d3. Rook h2 was played. So this h3 pawn, okay, let's see, rook c7, king g7, bishop c4 targeting f7, but dropping c2. That's taken. Check. Okay, king h8, bishop d3, rook c3. So Nakamura is trying to clear away as many white pawns as possible to try and draw this. Bishop takes g6, rook takes g3, bishop e4, rook takes h3. Yes, with just one passed pawn here, it's tricky now to win this. Let's have a look at the final stages. So rook h6, black is setting up a strong position, a fortress type position for that f pawn. The game continues a bit like this. f5, check. And now I'm not fearing the rook and pawn ending. Knight takes, rook h6. This is looking drawn now. After king e5, rook b6. This position here looks drawn, and a draw was agreed here. As soon as white plays f6, then black, I think, just keeps the checks going like this. Just keeps the checks. And now here, threatening king g6. Now this is the point where you don't play the check, by the way, because then king g6. This position here, bring the rook back. So to handle king g6 with rook g1. So if king g6, rook g1, have the checks ready. Back here, yeah. So once the pawn is committed to the 6th, then we have the checks again. Okay, so it's a drawable position. It's a well-known kind of drawable position, I think. So basically, yeah, rook b6, Nakamura held the draw here. So he seems to be under great pressure during this game. A very complicated game with the bishop pair against the 2 knights. Nakamura having the 2 knights. And yeah, once the rook was on the 7th, it was tricky for white. But it seems as though there was a moment there where black looked to be in a lot of trouble, 2 pawns down, around about here, in this position. After knight f3, the engine move actually was f5 to stop bishop e4, I think. Well, that's one of the things. But with knight f3, it seems as though bishop e4 was a strong idea in this position. Okay, but yeah, Nakamura, he's, you know, this is rapid, so, you know, a lot more things can happen than usual in classical. And yeah, Naka had to play accurately in the end, and he secured, yeah, drawing rook and pawn ending. Okay, so that's the first draw, actually, the first half point he dropped, in fact, in this tournament so far in round 6. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.